How we doing, everybody, and welcome in to a crossover episode of Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage and Brutally Honest Sports. We figured this week it's the 4th of July. Happy 4th to everybody out there and everything that it stands for. A great day. We figured you had to have a great episode, so here's the crossover. We had to get that crossover in. I got Aaron with me from Brutally Honest Sports. Aaron, how we doing? 4th of July, fantastic day. How we doing?
Yeah, back again for some more fun, some more discussion, maybe some arguing. I don't know, but no, I mean I'm doing good as always. Like I told you, we'd get to July 4th in no time, and here we are. So yeah, it's a great holiday, like you said, for everything it stands for, and that's the most important thing that people need to remember this day. But yeah, it's can't complain right now. Just a lot going on.
It's a great day. The weather is supposed to hold out here in the state of Wisconsin until tonight, and then it's going to get, again, rain moving into the area. So fantastic stuff there. Hopefully, the fireworks are lit off before the rain shows up. Otherwise, I mean, do it. I don't want to say do it underneath of a tarp because that could be dangerous. I don't know how to say to do it that wouldn't be dangerous to keep it out of the rain. So we got lots to get into. Not a lot of time. So we got to jump right into it. Aaron, I've been talking about it all week because NBA free agency officially started. We've seen some crazy moves already and everything like that. But this one touches the 76ers. I shouldn't say I didn't expect them to make a move. Lots of money to spend, lots of room on the roster. We expected them to make a move. They had Paul George, a great two-way player. I believe a good ad for the 76ers. I mean, your opinion, where does that put – how do you feel about the 76ers now? And where does that put them in the Eastern Conference? I've said the Celtics are still, until somebody dethrones them, they're at the top. The Bucks, a year now with Dame, Giannis, and Middleton together, get them healthy. That's a good team. Knicks are getting better. I mean, there's a lot of good teams in the East now. I think it's actually more top-heavy than ever right now within 7 teams I had in the Eastern Conference. But where do you see the 76ers stacking up there, and how do you feel now about your Sixers?
Yeah, I mean, last year, if Embiid stayed healthy throughout the regular season, I still put him up there. I feel like they're always a candidate to be a top 4 team, right? Like, I just feel like that's kind of like their window. I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to be 1. I'm not going to say they're going to be 4. Somewhere in that mix, like you say, the Bucks can be that as well. There's no doubt in my mind. It's weird. I was listening to Kyle Edwards, friend of the show, and the gentleman we do the bases loaded baseball podcast with. I shouldn't even try to say that, but yeah, he was talking about how it's now going to kind of 2 guys, to represent your team, and then a bunch of other pieces, which is kind of interesting. I mean, for the Sixers, you would think it's Maxey and Embiid. I mean, the Bucks have that kind of that 3-headed monster, if you will, but I don't know. I mean, the Knicks are. That'll be interesting to see. I mean, obviously, losing their big man, I forget his name, to
Hartenstein.
Hartenstein to the Thunder. Yeah.
There. Yep.
I think that might play a bigger role than people think, but we'll see how they shake out in the in the off season to kind of dictate their regular season next year. But yeah, I mean, I think this is a good move. It's not a great move. I'm going to put it like that. I mean, a lot of people are going crazy about it, and I don't know. Is Paul George like a winning player? Yeah, he can be part of that. He's not going to be, front and center, but I still have my concerns. when they go to the postseason, it's like, how good is he going to be? I mean, this kind of has to all mesh together. We never know. I mean, we saw the Suns. I mean, I thought the Suns would be pretty damn good if I do say so myself with KD, Bradley Beal. Who else? They had one more person there, didn't
Booker.
Yeah,
Devin Booker.
Booker sticking around there as he's been there his whole career, but I mean, that didn't work out. I mean, you just don't know how these guys are going to play together. To kind of wrap this up quickly, I mean, it's really going to dictate Embiid's health and Paul George and Maxey. Like any other team, if one of those guys goes out for a while, Embiid is like a ticking time bomb. He's kind of like Giancarlo Stanton. It's like, when is he going to get hurt? He's going to get hurt. It's just when and how long. So if he can, if they can weather the storm when Embiid's out, I mean, it makes them better. Do I put them up with up there with Boston? No. I mean, they lost a bunch of people. You know, a lot of these people are free agents already that were on the team last year. So it'll kind of come down to all those other pieces. But I mean, it made them better, but not like I'm not, over the moon at the move. It's a good move, not a great, outstanding move type deal.
Yeah, and you brought up an interesting thing there that Kyle said, and that was I've said it too, the duos, right? Everybody's getting duos out there, Tatum and Brown, and then you had Jamal Murray and Jokic. But you look at the East now, right? You have the Sixers, Maxey, Embiid, George. You look at the Bucks. Now, a lot of people don't look at Chris Middleton and think star, but I mean, when Chris Middleton gets on, Chris Middleton can burn a team by himself. That guy, I mean, he's unreal when he catches fire. Healthy, Chris Middleton is a very good player. You would want him on your squad, right? So you put him with Dame and Giannis. That's a big three. So it's starting to turn into a yes or no thing for me with is it a big three league now? Is it a duos? Like, what is it? I mean, there's teams out there. You look at even the Knicks. You mentioned the Knicks there. They got Bridges now, and you add him with Brunson and Randall. I know a lot of people aren't high on Randall. Still a solid player. So I mean, it is definitely going to be interesting. I really do think the Eastern Conference, I think first place could be decided by about three teams. I have the Celtics, the Sixers, and the Bucks in my three teams that could decide first place in there. But I have 7 teams in total that I named off yesterday on the show here that I believe could be good playoff teams and could beat up the other teams. I got Celtics, Sixers, Bucks, Knicks, Pacers. Who else did I have there yesterday? The Magic were in there too. I am not completely out on the Heat. I think the Heat could find a way. I mean, Jimmy Butler, he went through his phases last year. He showed up with, I don't even know what the haircut was. And then, I mean, Jimmy Butler was in his own world last year. But you still have Bam Adebayo. You still have Tyler Herro. He's got to stay healthy, but you got Tyler Herro. I mean, that's a decent team. And then you look at some up-and-coming teams in the Eastern Conference. I forgot to even mention, the Heat weren't even in there. I hit the Cavs, right? The Cavs are in there as a good team in the Eastern Conference. So there's a lot of good teams. You looked at it maybe a couple years ago. The West was the top-heavy conference, right? They were a little bit better in the West than in the East. I think it's changing. I think it really is changing. I think the Eastern Conference is actually getting better there. But looking at that Western Conference, we saw big news coming out of yesterday. Not big news, but kind of controversial news. And we saw LeBron James sign his extension. And in that same day, we saw Bronny James sign a 4-year contract with the Lakers. I don't know. I get it, right? Family ties, nobody can blame it on family ties because you look at any business out there, anything like that, having a parent or whatever inside the organization, that automatically gets you an upper edge, right? If you're looking for a job, if your dad runs a company, it's pretty easy for you to get into that company. It would be pretty hard for you not to get in there unless your dad doesn't like you, right? And we saw it here with LeBron, basically got Bronny into the league. There's no other way. I mean, he averaged 4 points a game. Wasn't even a starter at USC. Averaged 4 points a game. The offense wasn't really showing. Is he a good defender? I'm not going to say he doesn't have some athleticism. I'm not going to say he doesn't. I'm not going to say he's not a guy who can get after you on the defensive end. The only thing I'm going to say, and I know you have your feelings about Bronny James in the league now, the only thing I'm going to say is that Bronny James, in order for him to get any kind of playing time within these first 2, maybe 3 years, because I don't think his game is as advanced along as what somebody who's entering the league should be, Bronny James has got to be one heck of a defender. He has to defend tooth and nail out there. He's got to be all over the place all the time for him to find any kind of rotation piece in there. And if he finds a rotation piece and he doesn't do that, I don't know how long JJ Redick's going to last in LA because Laker fans, they're relentless, right? And now that the Celtics just won another finals, the Lakers are behind. They're falling back, right? They don't want the Celtics to have the upper hand. There's a lot of them old fans out there who still have that rivalry in the back of their mind. Now, new fans, they don't think about it. But old fans, they still think about that rivalry there and how they want to be better than the Celtics. Well, now the Celtics have the upper hand. So, I mean, Aaron, looking at the Bronny James news, signs that 4-year contract. What are your thoughts? Bronny James coming to the league. Now, he was going to get a contract. We're not going to say he wasn't going to get a contract there, but a 4-year deal for a very unproven guy. I'm not saying he couldn't develop, but a very unproven guy coming into the league.
I mean, absolutely. This has got to be. I mean, you're more plugged into the NBA than me for sure, but I do pay attention at the very least. You know, I know what's at least going on. I mean, to me, and you can answer to this. This has got to be the most hyped second round pick I can ever remember. I mean, there might have been one guy here or there that it's slipping my mind, but like we never hear about second round pick NBA guys. Like they're just literally like names just thrown up on a board, and it's like, okay, we're gonna pick this guy because this could work out, or he has this upside. Like where you never hear about a contract, you never hear about it's just not headline news because it's not Bronny. Like this is Bronny James we're talking about. This is a mainstay just because of his dad. Like that last name carries so much weight in sports, and then obviously even more in the NBA. So, I mean, it's hard. Like I'm having a hard time like towing the line here because I don't want to hate on the kid because his dad, like he couldn't control that his dad was LeBron James. Like that, you're born into that situation. Whether that's a blessing or a curse, I mean, it probably could be both, honestly. But at the end of the day, I mean, you pull up the stat lines and everything else, like just evaluating Bronny James. He hasn't done jack squat, really. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Like, he's very much an experiment. Like, this is not something where it's like LeBron was, picked number 1 overall. Everybody kept saying it was either Melo or LeBron that's the best player in that draft. But at least he was like, LeBron was being discussed as the best player in the draft, and he goes number 1. And most people will forever say he was the best player in that draft. Like it just all kind of lined up. This is just like I said, I kind of feel bad for Bronny because he's not obviously the athlete LeBron was, at least at this point. And it's, I don't know. To go back to kind of what you asked me, I just don't know how to feel about it. Like he's not NBA ready to me by any stretch, but he'll get more privileges and more, just more leeway because he's LeBron's son, and he got drafted to the Lakers. Like it's kind of a match made in heaven as far as that. But at some point, there's going to be pressure on him. Like it's going to be like, okay, can he actually play, or is it just like you see Giannis's brother, right, on the Bucks? It's like, okay, like what does he do? It's like I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you touched into Bronny there a little bit. But I want to move on here. We got through our Bronny James talk and our NBA talk. I want to look at a controversial NFL topic that I saw today. Lots of people talking about it. And that was, okay, so Patrick Mahomes, he's won 2 Super Bowls in a row now. If he wins a third, if he wins the three-peat, right, that's something that nobody has done in the NFL as a quarterback. Nobody has had that three-peat. The only guy in history that we can talk about who's had the three-peat multiple times, Michael Jordan, right? So if Patrick Mahomes wins another Super Bowl this early in his career, are we talking about Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes in a different kind of spotlight then? Are we talking about Patrick Mahomes potentially becoming the greatest of all time this early in his career? I think it's hard not to. You look, okay, Brady's got 7, right? And 7's untouchable. It's hard. It is extremely hard to win 7. I'm not going to take anything from what Brady has done in his career. But if Mahomes won one more, that's 4, right? That'd be 4 in his career, right? He's got 4 then. I believe so, right? Patrick Mahomes got 4, yeah. So he'd have 4.
49ers.
Yep, 49ers.
Eagles.
2. Last season's there.
Year
season before, the only one that he believed he lost, there was a middle one where the Bengals made it instead. I think that was the middle ground. Outside of that, so there's 4, right? He has 4 already.
And he
this
lost,
early
he
in his
lost
career.
to Brady, but that was
lost to Brady. Yep.
Not his fault. That's a whole different discussion. But
Yep.
He had no offensive line the entire game. He had literally had no chance.
I think he tracked more running yards running backwards than anything else. I think it was an actual stat. They clocked how many yards he had running around back there. But I mean, okay, so does that put the comparison even further? Does that speed up the car, right? Because people are already talking about it. Is Patrick Mahomes better than Tom Brady? It's already a conversation. Do you put Patrick Mahomes above Tom Brady if he achieves the feat of 3 in a row. That seems virtually. It's tough to win one. I mean, I know it as a Packer fan. We've had 2 straight Hall of Famers, and we have Jordan Love now, who a lot of people are high up on. We won 2 Super Bowls in that time period. That is a long time with only 2 Super Bowls. That tells you how tough it is to get to the Super Bowl and to win the Super Bowl. So for Patrick Mahomes to do it not once, not twice, but 3 times in a row, and especially, I mean, yes, he has Travis Kelce. He had Tyreek Hill for some of them, right? But look at his receiving core last year. They brought Hardman back. I mean, Hardman was back. They had, they left him at home. They told him not to show up. What the heck was his name? I can't remember his name now.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I know. Yep, I know who you're talking about.
Slipping my mind. But, I mean, the receiving core was like, who's here? They had Rice, but he was young. He was a rookie, right? So, I mean, this Patrick Mahomes is doing it with virtually nothing. So that's even comparable to what Tom Brady did, right? Because he had Rob Gronkowski. But outside of that, Julian Edelman, Chris Hogan. Like, these are some average Joes that Tom Brady's making look like they're great. Right? That's what he did. That's what Mahomes is doing. And he's doing it in just as good a fashion. If not, and I trust me, I think Tom Brady, from what I've seen, what I've watched, I think Tom Brady is the greatest of all time right now, just simply because 7 Super Bowls, the stats, everything behind it. The guy was phenomenal, and he got his teams to the playoffs, got him wins, right? But Patrick Mahomes has got, I feel like this is going to start those bus wheels up. What are your thoughts? Patrick Mahomes wins the Super Bowl coming up this next year. I hope not, because I'm hoping my Packers are hoisting up that Lombardi trophy. But, I mean, if Patrick Mahomes wins that Super Bowl, that's 4. Are we talking about Patrick Mahomes potentially already being put into the category of greatest of all time?
I mean, I think you at least have to bring it up, because it's okay. Let's say he pulls the three-peat. Not that this would happen, but just kind of for conversation's sake, he pulls off the three-peat and then he retires. Like, he just goes out like that. Obviously, he wouldn't be the great. Like, just because he does the three-peat, he's still 3 behind Brady. Like, you can't. Exactly. I know his stats are at this point in Brady's career versus at this point in Mahomes' career. Mahomes is better. You know what I mean? Across the board. But I mean, is it a thing where, like, I'll kind of throw it right back to you? I mean, if he pulls this off, it's going to be all right. So how many more does he get then? Like, obviously, you'll look back at this as like a moment where it's like he really did that. He really pulled off that three-peat. No one's done that. So
Nope.
Not even like when the Steelers had their dynasty or the Cowboys. But yeah, I would just ask you. I mean, does he have to get 7? Basically, like, is it as simple as that? Is it like Brady? I just looked it up. Brady 7-3. So let's just say Mahomes goes 7. Well, that's holy. I mean, almost lost the curse word there on the family
friendly
show.
here, family friendly on the crossover.
Yeah, like if he would be like 7-4, it's like, well, okay, are we splitting hairs like that, or like is it? Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's if they both finish with 7, but his stats are better. I don't know. I think you can make the argument Brady had some elite. I mean, not even an argument. It's a fact. He had some elite defenses for some of those Super Bowls. Like, have the Chiefs had an elite top, like very, very good? But is it like I don't know. Belichick's a defensive mastermind.
The Chiefs have had good defenses, right? They had Chris Jones in there. They've had some good corner safeties, everything else. But I don't think that they've had what the Patriots had. And I think that would make my difference in there. I mean, I don't even know. Okay, so if he gets a three-peat, I don't know if he has to get the 7. I really don't. If he were to win, let's just say he wins only 5, right? But in that mix, he has a three-peat. You could almost say that was that makes him the greatest of all time, right? You look at the stats. If he ends his career going on the trajectory that he's on now, stats will be broken. Like, records will be broken by Patrick Mahomes. We already see that. We already know that is probably going to happen. But now you add, let's just say 2 more Super Bowls, right? He's got 3 right now. You add 2 more. There's 5. And that's all he gets to, 5. But, 2 Super Bowls less than Brady. But he has the stats and he has the three-peat. I think you could look at him the same way then, because that three-peat, I think, just makes a difference, right? Because you look at MJ and the Bulls, 2 three-peats. That's impressive. I mean, just like football, basketball it can be hard to make it to the championship, win the championship. We know that. We watched the Brooklyn Nets. They had a loaded roster. Everybody got injured. Same with football. You could run through a season there. Look at the Eagles this last year. I mean, that was a roster returning an offensive line that was good. Jalen Hurts was coming back. Everybody was. It seemed like the Eagles were starting out so hot. They were hot. They were the hottest team in football. Everybody was talking about them. Then all of a sudden, bam, they're gone. They're gone off the face of the earth. And I know that touches some nerves there, but I mean, just a comparison. It shows you how fast things can turn upside down on you. So for the Chiefs to do it, and one of their Super Bowls within that three-peat, the second one, right? The one we watched last season there, the Chiefs weren't even supposed to be there. I mean, let's be real. The Chiefs were the definition of we just got in, we effed around a little bit, we got into the playoffs, and then we turned it on. Then all of a sudden these receivers could catch and everything was perfect with the world. And Patrick Mahomes, I mean, we look at one point last year, Patrick Mahomes is throwing his helmet on the sideline. He's ticked off. He's screaming at people like it's all kinds of madness within the Chiefs organization. And then all of a sudden they're hoisting the Lombardi trophy. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So I don't know. You factor it all in, and it just 5 Super Bowls, 6 Super Bowls with a three-peat in there. I just feel like that puts him over Brady, even with 7. With 7. I mean, because you look at the 7th one for Brady, he went to Tampa. Like, he didn't finish it in New England. He went to Tampa. And that roster had a good defense, right? And they had Mike Evans, and they had Godwin was on that team. And what's his name? Rob Gronkowski came down and he was playing tight end. Like, he had a stacked roster again. So you could almost say, if I were to compare team to team, like you were just saying before with the defenses, right? If I were to compare team to team, Brady's Super Bowls versus Patrick Mahomes Super Bowls, that 7th one could almost become, it's not a wash because he won the Super Bowl. I don't want to say it's a wash, but at the same rate, it's like it had to happen. It's like Peyton Manning going to the Denver Broncos. Like, Peyton Manning didn't do Jack Dilly squat to win that Super Bowl. That was the defense. The defense did the whole thing. Peyton Manning just had to survive, right? The defense scored everything. They did everything for him, set Peyton Manning up. That was his run to his final Super Bowl. What says you can't say that about Tom Brady and his final Super Bowl run with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? He didn't stay in New England, right? So if Patty Mahomes stays with the Chiefs, wins 5, wins 6, and doesn't go elsewhere, maybe the Chiefs like disband, they're out of money, whatever, and they have this crap roster like New England was treading towards, and instead of leaving, he stays there, rides it out one more, rides off in the sunset with 6. It's hard not to say this guy is the greatest of all time, especially if the stats continue how they're going.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was going to ask you is, I'll have to agree to disagree on this one. I think, like, obviously, like, it was Jameis Winston before Brady came into Tampa, and then he was like 30 and 32 or something as far as like 30 touchdowns, 32. Like, it was absurd how many picks Winston would throw, but then he'd throw for 5,000 yards too. Like, it was just like you got everything with Jamie Winston there. But I almost like I look at the Peyton Manning. Yes, that one year he like threw for 50 touchdowns and he was lighting the world on fire with Denver, and like all credit to him that year. But yeah, like you said, his last Super Bowl, I mean, you or I could have been the quarterback on that team. Like, and that's not even like being unrealistic. Like, he did absolutely nothing. But in the Super Bowl, not saying to get there or whatever, but like you could tell he was just, there's nothing left there. I mean, you could have put Kyle Bowler in there and they would have won. But it's like I don't know. Sometimes I do like, and trust me, I'm the last person that wants to give Brady an inch of credit, but I have to, when speaking objectively. It's I kind of give him a little bit more credit because he leaves New England. Yes, he goes to Tampa, but like immediately they're in the Super Bowl, and like they weren't sniffing a Super Bowl with Jameis Winston. Like, that just wasn't gonna happen. And now we see like Jameis Winston doesn't even start anymore. So it's I don't know. I kind of have to give Brady that type of credit because to go he proved he could do it without Bill, and Bill didn't prove anything after him. Like, really, I mean, New England's been piss poor, and now, Belichick's not even there. So I have to tip my cap there, but it's going to be tough. Like, I really think he'll finish his career, and we'll be splitting hairs about this. Like, it'll be, oh, Mahomes has 5 or 6 or whatever it is. I mean, if he gets to 7 with a three-peat, like, I don't care how Brady did it. Even if it is 7 with Kansas City, and Brady did get the 6 with New England and then 1 with Tampa, and like, because to me they're both clutch. Like, they both have the clutch gene. I've seen Mahomes pull how many drives out of his rear end, like, just to win the game. He's got that, like, on lock, and that's not the guy you want on the other sideline. If you're the opposing team and the game's on the line, it's the last guy in the league right now that you want. But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting. I kind of want to end my point. I kind of want Mahomes to leave Kansas City at the end of his career and go to like imagine if he went to like Detroit, or I know it's in your division, that's kind of like hitting a soft spot, but like a team that like has had no Super Bowls, like Cleveland Browns. He's like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to the Cleveland Browns, and then he just rips the Super Bowl off. I'd be like, I want to see somebody go to one of those organizations that cannot, no matter what, they cannot win a Super Bowl, and just, okay, I got it. Like, don't even, like, I wish Brady would have even done that. I would have been like, okay, I actually kind of like him now. Like, if he went to Detroit and he's like, you know what, I'm going to bring a Super Bowl here, like, and he does it, more power to you.
I think Brady kind of went to the best situation.
Yeah,
he saw the weapons, he saw everything that was there, and he's like, yeah, I can win one, right? So, I mean, that was, I guess, my point with the Tampa Bay. Like, I get it. Like, Jameis couldn't do it, but you throw in a good quarterback. And that's my thing, is that you throw in a good quarterback, right? You could have sent Aaron Rodgers down there. He most likely would have been in the same spot. I mean, there's a couple of different quarterbacks you could have sent to that same situation. It's like, dude, all you got to do is limit turnovers and throw the ball, and Mike Evans is going to catch it, and Godwin's going to do his thing. Like, I just felt like, and I mean, with Brady came Rob Gronkowski, so that was a big bolster to that roster too there. So that's all. That was all I wanted to know. I was listening to it today. I was listening to a couple different talk shows, and that was the big topic of the day there. So getting off of football there, getting to some baseball. We got to get some baseball here to wrap us up for the day. The All-Star Game rosters were announced. We saw the AL, the NL, the starters that will be in there. So I'm going to list through them here, and then we can kind of discuss what we thought about these rosters there. So looking at the AL, we see Adley Rutschmanson. He got the catching spot. Vlad Guerrero Jr. at first base. Jose Altuve, second base. Gunnar Henderson, your Oriole there. He's in there at shortstop. We see third baseman Jose Ramirez. Steven Kwan, a fantastic year for Kwan. He's in left field. Aaron Judge having a fantastic year out in center field. And then in right field, Juan Soto, another Yankee having a fantastic year. I know that pains everybody to know, but Aaron Judge and Juan Soto both having fantastic years. And Yordan Alvarez gets in there as the DH there. So I guess any surprises in there on the AL side, starter wise?
I mean, it's just being biased, but Vladdy's kind of turned it on here as of recently, so he got it over Mountcastle. I mean, I can't complain. I mean, if you look at, like, there's literally like Ryan O'Hearn for the Orioles, Anthony Santander, Westberg, Mountcastle, and then obviously Rutschman and Gunnar, but they're all like in there. You know what I mean? Like, they were all voted on. I don't know. I guess the finalist too is still on the team. Like, they're just they're a backup. Like, they're a bench player. So I guess they still are an all-star. Like, I was looking at this, and then obviously I know the starters, but yeah, I mean, from and also an Orioles fan perspective, like, it's crazy to like these guys, like Ryan O'Hearn, like who is that guy? You know what I mean? Like, and like Ryan Mountcastle's a nice player, but it's like, is he, like, to be on the All-Star ballot? Like, it's crazy. So, yeah, I mean, I pretty much think they nailed it here. I mean, I don't know how well Altuve's doing. That's one guy I didn't really look at the stats, but I mean, you go down the list: Rutschman, Guerrero, Altuve, Jose Ramirez. Like, they're all guys. I mean, Gunnar being his first All-Star game, but he's like tied for most home runs or second to Judge. Like, they keep switching positions there, but yeah, I mean, all those guys to me deserve it. So I'm sure if I dug deep, there's probably some snubs in there, for sure. But just looking down all these guys right here, I mean, you can't really say none of like they deserve to be on the team at the very least. So they're all studs as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the AL side, there isn't really much to question there. Rutschmanson having a fantastic year. Guerrero, like you said, turning on his late, and we all know it's a fan vote. So Guerrero's well known. That gets him in there. Jose Altuve, I thought people hated him, so I really don't. If it's just the people of Houston voting him in, I don't know with that one. Gunnar Henderson, he's having a fantastic year. He's in the home run derby. Great stuff to see there. Stephen Kwan, like I said when I mentioned him earlier there, he is having a fantastic year, right? Outside of Judge, outside of Soto, Kwan's having a fantastic year. So good to see him getting on the All-Star team there. Looking over at the NL side of it there, we see William Contreras, Brewer, got on in the catching spot, well-deserved. Contreras has been a cog in the Brewers' offense. He's helped the Brewers be the third best team in the National League right now. The average dipped a little bit, right, but he still got the pop. He still got the OPS. Everything looks good with Contreras, a well-deserved first place. Plus, defensively, William Contreras is a very good catcher now, different than what people remember of his days, little short-term days with the Braves there, where he was an offense, not as much catching. Now it's a little bit of both there. So a well-tooled player. Bryce Harper, he was a lock for first base when the phase 1 voting was done. He is in there as your first baseman. Second base, I got to deal with Ketel Marte. We talked about it here. Bryce Terang, I thought was a little bit more deserving of being in there in the voting. Didn't get in there. Ketel Marte's in there. Trey Turner at shortstop. Alec Boehm, another Philly there at that third. Well, I forgot Trey Turner, Philly too, but Alec Boehm gets in there in the third base spot. Profar, he's your left fielder. Christian Yelich, Brewer, got in there in center field. Good to see a couple Brewers on the list there. Tatis Jr., another one of those shortstops turning elsewhere for the Padres. He's in right field for this all. I mean, well-deserved. The average is there. Everything's there for Tatis. He's been playing a pretty good year. So Tatis, I mean, for baseball, good to see Tatis back, right? I mean, he had his suspension there. He had his down years. Now he's back. He's playing like the guy that everybody wanted to see when he first came up. So I guess good in that sense. And then no surprise here, Shohei Ohtani in there in the DH spot. For me, no surprises really in this All-Star. I mean, I thought Joey Ortiz should get some votes, a little bit more voting there in that third base spot. Didn't really get the votes that I thought he deserved there. Ryan McMahon, too. I'm watching the Rockies-Brewers series. McMahon's been, hitting the ball well. He didn't get in there in the voting-wise. Alec Boehm has been downright the best third baseman in the National League. So no denying he deserved to be a starter. I just thought those two guys that I just mentioned should have been up there in the votes. Should have been against Alec Boehm, I guess I'm trying to say, in that phase 2 voting. Instead, we got Machado again. Fans voting Machado in there. I thought people hated Machado too, so surprising to see Machado in there. Outside of that, we already talked about my disgrunt with second base and Ketel Marte and Bryce Terang being 5th on the list, even though Bryce Terang defensively is better than Ketel Marte and offensively is, again, like I said, with William Contreras and I guess Christian Yelich, I'm going to throw his name in there, a reason why the Brewers are surprising so many people right now and are leading the Central and are third in the National League right now. So I guess to you got 3 Phillies on there as starters right now. We don't know what's going to end up bench-wise, bullpen, everything like that yet, but starter-wise, 3 Phillies on there. Any surprises that you saw on the National League side?
I got to be honest with you. I keep going back in my mind as far as is Trey Turner deserving of this, because he was out for a while. It's not like he was out for a couple games. I'm trying to pull up exactly how long, because he just came back literally a couple days ago. So he's got 195 at bats. Let's see what Mookie Betts is right there as far as fan voting. So Mookie Betts, 283. So he's got 100 at bats more than Trey Turner. Do I feel that's fair? I almost think you should almost start Mookie Betts, and then if Trey Turner's a bench guy, I can understand that, but you're starting shortstop Trey Turner after missing a whole bunch of games. I just, that doesn't rub me the right way. Even as a Phillies fan and somebody that supports the team, it's let's be honest with ourselves, right? Like, let's just not vote in all, like when it was all Royals that one year. It's like, okay, that's like, yeah, I want to see, like, if Christian Yelich is your best option in center field, like he's having the best year as a center fielder, Christian Yelich should be there. It shouldn't be Brandon Marsh because he's a Philly or a Brewer or an Astro or whatever. So that one doesn't make sense to me. Like I said, I mean, whatever. I mean, Alec Boehm to me has kind of been their glue in that lineup. He's been extremely consistent. But yeah, like for Terang not to get any love whatsoever. I mean, then you got, I mean, Luis Arias, you could almost make the case like he should jump Ketel Marte, and then obviously Bryce Terang in there, right in there somewhere. It doesn't make sense, but I mean, other than that, kind of everybody else. I mean, Harper's been out for a good bit now, but he's another guy. He just, I don't know if it's the way he plays the game. Like certain guys, not to say he broke a bone, but certain guys break bones easier. Certain guys pull things easier. Like it's always every year he has something going on injury wise. But I mean, before that, obviously lighting the world on fire. But yeah, I mean, it's a solid. I'm looking at. I mean, here we go with the Nick Castellanos with the 13%. I just don't get. That's just got to be Philadelphia. But it seems like nobody in Philadelphia likes Nick Castellanos. So makes sense of that. It doesn't. But yeah, other than that, I mean, Joey Ortiz is having a great year. I think he should be. Who we got here? Oh yeah, Machado as second place voting. Yeah, he's a guy not many people love either, but he carries. It's almost like, if you're building a lineup, it's like Machado, and then you got Judge. So like there's just guys like Trey Turner. It's just they get votes because of their name. Literally, that's what I think it is. It's not even like he's playing in a big market anymore. He wasn't. The only time he played in a big market was the Dodgers there. So yeah, overall, I guess pretty solid. I do have the Brewers done any like the cowboy type theme. I mean, I know the Phillies did it, the Orioles did it, like with this whole Texas thing going on.
Not that I've seen. I don't
know if that was like a league wide thing. They're trying to. I see what they're trying to be looser as a league, like, and just kind of promote the game in Texas there, but.
Yeah, no, I get it completely. I was searching on X quick because I figured if somebody they had to have shared it if they would have done something like that, but I'm not seeing nothing. But probably, I mean, if everybody else is doing it, most likely we will see something out of the Brewers there too. So, I mean, I told everybody on the show yesterday I was going to get to the farm report today. I'm not going to get to the fresh on the farm report today. I'm going to get to it on Friday. I told you I was going to get to today. We're running a little bit long. I'm going to get to it on Friday. I want to run a quick game. It's a quick game. I just made it up there. It's going to be picking your team. Okay, so one of us is going to give a team to the other guy. Okay, and you have your positions to pick from. Catcher, first base, second base, third base, all the way through the positions. One starter, one reliever, and one closer off of said team. So let's just, for example, actually, we'll just start the game, okay? So I'm going to give you, let's just go with the Orioles. I give you the Orioles. You have to pick one position player, starting pitcher, reliever, or closer. You have to pick one off of that team. That is going to be your first player picked.
I mean, it's a cop-out answer. I'll go Gunnar Henderson.
Gunnar Henderson. So that will be your shortstop. All right, you're up. What do you got for me?
Give you.
Pick a team.
Yeah, okay, I like that. I'll give you the Texas Rangers. That's a little bit of an oddball, but
Texas Rangers. I'm gonna have to say, give me Corey Seager. Give me Corey Seager as my shortstop. I will take Seager. I think he's still got the pop.
Solid.
I'm gonna go give you an interesting one here. Let's go with my hated rival. Let's go with the Cubs. Who you taking off of the Cubs?
That is a tough one. I mean, they're obviously you and I both know, not having a good year whatsoever there. I've always kind of liked Cody Bellinger, so just give me Cody Bellinger. Not that I don't even know how he's doing this year, truth be told, but man, splitting hairs honestly with this. I mean, 274, 9 homers, 36. I mean, honestly better than average. Honestly, better than average.
Gets the job done.
Yeah, not as bad as I would. I thought he'd be hitting 220. So I'll take it. Since you gave me a pretty crappy squad, I'll give you the best team in baseball in the month of June, which still is not computing with me, is the New York Mets.
New York Mets. That's tough. That is a tough. You threw an oddball at me. You would think your first answer would have to be around that Lindor kind of area. I'm going to go, give me Starling Marte. Out of all the guys on that team, he's having the best year, 278, 7 home runs, 30 RBIs. Give me Starling Marte as my right fielder right now.
Okay.
I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you the Yankees. You got to pick a Yankee. You hate the Yankees. You got to pick a Yankee.
As much as I don't like them, like I do like, being able to pick one of their. I mean, they got studs. That's no doubt about it. I mean, I do have a soft spot for Judge. If he played for anybody else, I'd probably have his jersey. That's how much I do like the guy. So give me Aaron Judge. I mean,
we'll put him in right field. We'll put him in right field for you.
All right. Since you teed me up with a great team like that, I'll give you my Phillies. I'll give you my Phillies and pick.
Give me Harper. Give me Harper for first base. I don't know. Harper, I love the fire. Give me Harper. Okay.
Solid.
So that was an easy one. Let's go with the difficult one. I'm going to give you...
I got a team in mind. If you don't pick it, I'm going to give it to you.
Take the Seattle Mariners. Take the Seattle Mariners and run with that one.
Okay. Outside of Julio let's see real quick. Let's just see real quick here. I know Ty France is kind of a power hitter from what I remember. The Orioles are actually playing them right now, so I should at least have a little bit more knowledge here. J.P. Crawford. I mean, oh geez, wow. Not J.P. Crawford's not that good. Wow, Julio's not having a good year at all either.
No, they're bad across the board.
Give me an oddball. I'll go Luke Raley. Almost the same last name as me as Riley, but Luke Raley. Hitting 256, 9 bombs, 23 RBIs. Not great, but not terrible.
What
left
position
field.
does left field? Luke Raley.
I
knew Cal Raley.
I should have picked the starting pitcher. I'm already, the draft room.
Gilbert's a pretty good starting pitcher. Yeah, Gilbert's pretty good starting pitcher out there.
Yeah, I lost that. I lost on that one, but shoot, I'm gonna give you a real slim pickings here. Pittsburgh.
Oh, don't give me the White
no. You know
Sox.
what? Pittsburgh Pirates. I already know who I think
Paul
you're gonna pick.
Skeens.
Yep.
Paul
Didn't even
Skeens.
think of him when I said pick it. When I was like Pirates, I didn't even think about him until like right before you said it. I was like, "Yep, he's gonna pick him." I had
to take Skeens.
Man.
There. Okay, so we're gonna pick one more round here, and then we're gonna save the rest of our draft until the next episode. We're gonna save it till the next draft. So in our next, we got one round left. I'm gonna give you a dumpster fire. The White Sox.
Oh.
Take the White Sox. I would not look at the lineup. I would look elsewhere if I was you, because if I gave myself that one, I would look elsewhere.
I know they have a good pitcher because everybody keeps talking about how
they got a couple. They got a couple of decent ones in there in that rotation.
Couple good ones here. Give me the ERA, ESPN.
Fetty or Crochet, I think.
Yeah, I got them both up here. I'm not really looking at win and loss. I mean, Fetty is 6-3, Crochet 6-6. But
the ERAs are similar. I mean, they're right around 3, I think.
Yeah.
Last time I looked.
Crochet 302, Fetty 313, 94 Ks for Fetty. Let me just look at the Ks and then I'll give you the. Oh yeah! Oh my God! Crochet blows him out of the water in strikeouts. Give me Garrett Crochet. Might be a trade piece at the deadline for a good team. Honestly.
All right, we'll make a trade halfway through the draft. So I got one more. I got one more pick for the first round of the draft here.
And I'll counter you with the San Francisco Giants.
Oh boy, come on now. Oh, that one sucks. You would think that you would lean towards what's his name that they just grabbed him late. Matt Chapman.
I was gonna say maybe Blake Snell in there, but you got Paul Skeens already. You got Paul Skeens.
Because Logan Webb's having a pretty good year. Let's look. Saves wise, Doval's got 15. Not bad there. Matt Chapman, 242. He's got 11 bombs on the year, 40 RBIs. I'm going to take Matt Chapman to play my third base. I got bombs, I got RBIs. Chapman, not a great average, but he's getting it done in the RBI department there. So I'm going to take Matt Chapman with my last spot there. So right now, first base, I got Bryce Harper, Matt Chapman at third, Corey Seager at short, Starling Marte in right, and Paul Skeens at starting pitcher. And through round one, you have Gunnar Henderson at short, Luke Raley in left field, Aaron Judge in right field, center field, Cody Bellinger, and Garrett Crochet as your starting pitching. Wow, that outfield is, Gunnar, Aaron Judge, and Cody Bellinger, that's some big boppers in the middle of your lineup there. So great stuff. Great stuff. So anything else? We got to wrap up the show here. Anything else? Let the people know where they can find you out there, Brutally Honest Sports.
Yeah, I need to. I'm slacking on the uploading part of the thing. I'm trying to get that corrected, but I did upload our show from now. It's a while ago, so I'm playing catch up a little bit. But Spotify, Brutally Honest Sports Podcast, YouTube, Brutally Honest Sports Podcast, Apple, all the other places, and then Twitter, Brutally Honest without the T, just Brutally Honest. But yeah, appreciate it as always. Love this ending segment. This is gonna be fun. Maybe we'll have to make these rosters in the show or something somehow. Play it out.
Try to play each other. That'd be wild. That'd be wild there. So good stuff. Great show. Great show as always. Again, I hope everybody be safe. Enjoy the 4th of July, but be safe. Please be safe. We want to have you listening to us again when we finish up these rosters. Don't hurt yourself while listening to us. Don't use the tarp idea that I almost came up with earlier. Bad idea. If it's raining, just stay in the garage, drink a Busch Light. I don't care what you do. Do something else than light fireworks off. So with that, awesome crossover show. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. But until I talk to you guys again tomorrow, deuces.
Yeah, oh my Lord, watch me sway. Darkness falls and we all pray, hoping for the light of day. Down to the river, I have held the devil's hand, felt the weight of my own sin.